5 most torturous diseases with no cure. Imagine waking up one day and your own body becomes your worst enemy. What if you couldn't move, sleep, or even breathe, and no one could help you? While we worry about colds or back pain, some people live in bodies that are literally self-destructing from the inside out. Your muscles turn to bone. Your brain erases who you are. Your skin burns you alive. These aren't horror movie plots. They're real diseases that millions face every single day. And here's the terrifying part. Modern medicine, with all its incredible advances, still has absolutely no cure for them. I'm about to show you 5 of the most devastating diseases known to humanity, conditions so rare and brutal that they challenge everything we think we know about survival itself. Are you ready to see what true human courage looks like?
You know, we live in an age where we can transplant hearts, edit genes, and even grow organs in labs. Yet there are still diseases out there that make our most brilliant doctors feel helpless. These aren't just rare conditions. They're medical mysteries where every day of survival is a victory, and every patient becomes an unwilling pioneer in the fight for a cure.
Chapter 1. The Living Statue. Fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva. Disease number 1 will make you fear your own healing process. Meet Harry Eastlack. He was an ordinary child in 1933 Philadelphia, running around like any 5-year-old, until a small stiffness in his neck became the start of something the world had never seen. Harry had fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva, FOP, Stone Man Syndrome. It affects 1 in 2 million people. Here's what makes it absolutely terrifying. Your soft tissues slowly turn into bone and cartilage. Your body becomes your own prison, 1 bone at a time. For Harry, it started innocently, just some neck stiffness. Doctors tried everything. Surgeries, treatments, experimental procedures. But what if I told you that every attempt to help made it worse? Here's the nightmare. Any trauma to the body, including surgery, actually accelerates the bone formation. Every time doctors tried to save Harry, they were literally helping the disease consume him faster. Imagine being told that getting help means getting worse. As years passed, Harry watched helplessly as his body betrayed him. By his teens, he couldn't move his arms. By his 20s, his jaw had fused shut. He once said, "I feel like I'm being buried alive, but I'm still breathing." The psychological torture was just as brutal. Harry was brilliant. He taught himself multiple languages, became an expert in ancient civilizations. His mind remained sharp and curious, trapped inside a body turning to stone. Can you imagine being fully aware as your own body becomes your tomb? Harry lived for 39 years. When he died in 1973, he made an extraordinary decision. He donated his skeleton to science, saying, "If my suffering can help others, then maybe it wasn't meaningless." Today, Harry's skeleton still helps researchers understand FOP. There are only 800 confirmed cases worldwide, but each patient carries the same incredible courage. They know their fate, yet they choose to live, love, and fight. FOP teaches us that the human spirit can remain unbreakable even when the body fails completely.
Chapter 2. The Endless Waking, Fatal Familial Insomnia. Disease number 2 will make you fear something we all take for granted: sleep. What if I told you there's a disease that literally kills you by preventing you from sleeping? Fatal Familial Insomnia, FFI. It sounds like a nightmare because it is one you can never wake up from. This curse affects maybe 40 families worldwide. It's genetic, passed down like a terrible family secret. The most famous case? An Italian family living with this curse for over 200 years.
FFI usually strikes in your 40s or 50s.
It starts innocently. Trouble sleeping, night sweats, but within months, victims completely lose the ability to sleep. Not insomnia like you might experience. This is total, permanent wakefulness. And then the horror begins. Sleep disappears forever. As months pass without sleep, the brain literally starts dying. Patients hallucinate, lose weight rapidly, develop an eerie, dreamlike waking state. One patient described it as living in a waking dream where reality and nightmare blend together. Average survival, 18 months from onset. No treatment. No way to force sleep. No escape. Family members watch their loved ones waste away, knowing they might carry the same genetic time bomb. FFI shows us how precious something as simple as sleep really is. These families live with incredible strength, knowing what might await them, yet choosing to build futures anyway.
Chapter 3. The Diamond Prison. Harlequin ichthyosis. This one might be the hardest to watch because it starts from the very moment of birth. Imagine being born, trapped inside armor made of your own skin. That's harlequin ichthyosis, one of the most severe genetic skin disorders known. The name comes from diamond-shaped plates of thickened skin covering these children. But this is no performance.
When these babies are born, their skin is so thick it cracks and splits, eyes and mouths sealed shut. They can't regulate temperature. They're at extreme risk of infection, and simply breathing becomes a struggle. Historically, most died within days. But here's where human determination rewrites the story.
Meet Stephanie Turner from Arkansas. When daughter Brenna was born with harlequin ichthyosis in 1995, doctors gave little hope, but Stephanie refused to accept that. She spent months in the hospital, learning to care for Brenna's fragile skin, applying moisturizer every 2 hours, around the clock. Brenna had to shed her skin every few days, necessary and agonizing. Every milestone required extraordinary effort.
Today, Brenna is in her late 20s, college graduate, traveler, advocate. She still deals with severe skin issues daily, but she's created a life full of joy. She once said, "My skin doesn't define my dreams." Harlequin ichthyosis teaches us that the most beautiful spirits sometimes come in the most challenging packages.
Chapter 4. The Family Curse. Huntington's Disease. Disease number 4 isn't just genetic. It's a family curse that rewrites destiny. Let me tell you about Woody Guthrie, the folk singer who wrote "This Land Is Your Land." But Woody's real story is about Huntington's disease, one of the cruelest genetic lotteries imaginable. Here's the terrible mathematics. If one parent has it, you have a 50-50 chance. It usually strikes in your 30s or 40s, right when life should peak.
Woody started showing symptoms in his 40s. People thought he was drunk, stumbling, slurred words, erratic behavior. But this wasn't alcohol. This was his brain slowly dying from the inside out. Huntington's attacks areas controlling movement, emotion, and cognition. Patients develop wild, uncontrollable movements called chorea, from the Greek word for dance. But there's nothing beautiful about this violent, exhausting, unstoppable dance. Woody's wife Marjorie watched the man she loved disappear piece by piece. Explosive outbursts, uncontrolled movements, slowly losing the ability to play guitar, the very thing that defined him. She said, "I was losing Woody twice. First his body, then his mind." What makes Huntington's particularly cruel? Its genetic nature. Woody's mother died from it. 3 of his 8 children inherited the gene. His son Arlo was spared, but lived decades not knowing. The psychological torture is unimaginable. Do you get tested and potentially receive a death sentence?
Do you have children not knowing if you're passing on this curse? Woody died in 1967 after 13 years of decline. But his daughter Nora turned family tragedy into a force for good, advocating for research. She said, "Dad's music brought joy to millions. Maybe his disease can bring hope to thousands more."
Chapter 5. The Conscious Goodbye, ALS. Disease number 5 traps a brilliant mind inside a failing body. I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Lou Gehrig said this in 1939, knowing he was dying from ALS. What makes this statement so powerful? He said it facing one of the most brutal diseases imaginable. ALS attacks motor neurons, cells controlling voluntary muscle movement. It's like having your body's electrical system shut down, wire by wire. You remain completely aware, mind sharp, while your body stops responding to commands. Most ALS patients have 2 to 5 years from diagnosis. It starts with weakness, spreads relentlessly. Speaking becomes difficult, swallowing dangerous. Eventually, even breathing requires assistance.
Stephen Hawking defied ALS for over 50 years. Steve Gleason transformed his diagnosis into a mission of hope. These individuals turned death sentences into platforms for breakthrough. ALS shows us the incredible power of mind to transcend physical limitations. While we can't cure it yet, we've learned to help patients communicate, create, and contribute long after bodies fail. Conclusion. These 5 diseases represent medicine's greatest challenges, but they also showcase humanity's greatest strengths. Every patient fighting these conditions is a hero in the truest sense. Here's what gives me hope. When we focus on rare diseases, breakthroughs happen. Gene therapy shows promise. CRISPR technology might hold keys we haven't imagined yet. These people aren't just surviving. They're teaching us about resilience, love, and the incredible capacity of human spirit. They live every day as if it were a battle, and somehow they still find joy. What's your excuse? Have you ever seen someone live with a rare disease? Share their story. Your comment could give someone strength they didn't know they had. If this opened your eyes to rare disease reality, smash that like button to spread awareness. Subscribe and hit notifications because we explore the most fascinating, challenging realities of human existence. And here's something incredible. In our next video, we'll show you the miracle recoveries doctors still can't explain. Proof that sometimes even the cruelest diseases don't win. The link is right here. And trust me, after seeing these impossible battles, you need to see the impossible victories. Until next time, appreciate your health, support medical research, and never stop being amazed by human resilience.